Everyone having a right to a safe and stable home benefits us all. I come with no other agenda than desperately trying to help people who are in need.
The British royal family has faced its fair share of controversy, affairs, allegations, and abdications. But nothing could have prepared the monarchy for the scandal that broke out not from a castle wall, but from a child's mouth. It began as an innocent family gathering, with sunlight flowing over manicured gardens, laughter booming from the royal children's area, and a sense of serenity, albeit short, settling over the firm. But what happened that afternoon set off one of the most emotionally charged royal fights in years, pitting blood against marriage, duty against favoritism, and most shockingly, Princess Charlotte against Camilla's own grandchild. According to palace insiders, the incident occurred at a secret royal function attended by senior royals and their children. Something changed during the festivities. According to witnesses, Camilla's granddaughter targeted Charlotte, who was now coming into her own as the daughter of the future king and queen. A snarky statement here and a scathing remark there. But it wasn't just teasing. One staff member described it as mean-spirited and deliberate, the type of behavior intended to wound rather than to jest. Moments later, Princess Charlotte was spotted in tears, gripping her mother's hand, her face crimson and trembling. Kate, who has always carefully sheltered her children from the public and internal palace politics, was claimed to be visibly shaken. However, Prince William's reaction would send shockwaves across the monarchy. In an unexpected decision, William canceled Camilla's granddaughter's honorary royal powers, which had hitherto gone uncontested by the public. No more access to royal residences, no more invitations to ceremonial gatherings. There will be no more silent recognition within the palace hierarchy. The message was clear: don't touch my daughter. The decision was daring, unprecedented, and incredibly personal. Camilla was allegedly furious. She perceived it as more than simply an insult. It was a direct attack on her bloodline, a humiliation at the hands of her stepson, a guy she once thought had acknowledged her role. King Charles, torn between allegiance to his wife and his heir, remained silent, afraid that further dissension would undermine an already frail kingdom. However, for the British public, the decision was obvious. It wasn't only about titles and palace politics. It was about safeguarding a kid. And in the eyes of millions, William and Kate had done what any good parent would do. They defended their daughter with strength and without apologies. And just like that, a schoolyard remark had transformed into a royal reckoning, one that may forever alter the power dynamic inside the House of Windsor. It was supposed to be a laid-back affair, a balmy summer day spent in Windsor Castle's private gardens, where senior royals and their children could get away from the cameras, the press, and the pressures of duty. All stories indicate that the occasion was informal, a family-only gathering organized by King Charles himself. There were no official titles or state robes, only a picnic-style setting with picnic blankets, garden games, and a few chilled glasses of elderflower spritz served about by smiling footmen. Even within the ostensible protection of those royal hedges, old rivalries simmered under the surface, and hidden tensions never fully subsided. And it was here, among the croquet and cucumber sandwiches, that the moment occurred, the one that transformed an average afternoon into a palace scandal. At the heart of it all were the royal children. Prince George, Princess Charlotte, and Prince Louis were playing near the flower beds, watched over by their mother Kate and a few inconspicuous staff members. Camilla's granddaughters, most notably Lola Parker Bowles and Eliza Lopez, were also in attendance, having begun to participate at royal ceremonies alongside their grandmother after Camilla became queen consort. Camilla's grandchildren, while not legally royals, have gradually been pushed into the edges of royal society. Their attendance at the 2023 coronation, for example, drew attention as they participated in formal processions, with Eliza returning to the public eye after her earlier role as a bridesmaid in William and Kate's 2011 wedding. Many believed Camilla wanted to give her family a symbolic seat at the royal table. However, insiders now tell that beneath the smiles and official picture opportunities, an undercurrent of quiet conflict had been developing between the children, or, more precisely, between their families. On that fateful day, Charlotte, now 9 years old and famous for her confidence, quick wit, and uncanny likeness to her late grandmother, Princess Diana, was seen engaging in fun conversation with the other kids. Everything appeared lighthearted at first, until it was not. Witnesses say one of Camilla's grandchildren, thought to be Eliza, made a specific nasty remark about Charlotte's appearance, ridiculing the way she curtsied to an adult or the design of her clothing, which Kate had handpicked. Another reported she said, "Your mummy is just pretending to be queen. Mine is the actual one." What was intended as youthful bravado quickly became inappropriate. One royal staffer described Charlotte's reaction as completely devastated. The young princess, who is generally serene and self-assured, appeared scared and raced into her mother's arms, crying. Kate quickly pulled her daughter aside, soothing her with a passionate protectiveness that did not go unnoticed. But Kate wasn't the only one who noticed. Prince William, who had been speaking with his father nearby, was observed pausing mid-sentence as Charlotte clung to Kate. After a quiet but furious confrontation between William and his wife, witnesses say the prince strode right over to the supervising staff and demanded a complete account of what had occurred. According to inside sources, the air became heavy. Camilla turned aside, claiming she hadn't seen anything, while other guests exchanged uneasy glances. The laughter that had previously filled the garden suddenly faded. An aide later stated, there was an immediate shift. Everyone seemed to realize that something serious had just happened. William's expression said it all. He wasn't going to let this slip. Many people were unaware at the time that this was not the first time this had happened. Previous parties have contained subtle digs, such as Camilla's grandchildren apparently making contemptuous comments about the Cambridge children's media rules, or laughing at Kate's formal parenting style. It had been brushed away until now. But this time, with Charlotte in tears and the slight far too personal, Prince William had hit his limit. The seeds of a royal split had been gently sowed in the garden that day, and with one hurtful word and a child's wounded heart, they were poised to explode into a full-fledged emergency. Catherine, Princess of Wales, has always been the embodiment of serenity, controlled, graceful, and resolute even in the harshest light. However, beneath the sweet smiles and tailored jackets is a mother who will go to any length to defend her children. And on that sunny Windsor afternoon, when her daughter raced into her arms in tears, something in Kate changed. A line had been crossed. According to sources close to the princess, the minute Charlotte sobbed into her mother's shoulder, Kate's demeanor altered completely. Gone was the composed royal consort. In her place stood a mother, enraged, protective, and completely reluctant to accept what had just happened. She was absolutely livid, one palace aide said. I have never seen her like that. It wasn't just the insult, it was the disdain, the entitlement, and the fact that someone in Camilla's circle thought they could talk to Charlotte like that and get away with it. Kate quickly pulled Charlotte from the garden gathering, guiding her back inside with quiet, firm authority. Insiders believe a private altercation ensued, sending shockwaves through the palace staff. Kate apparently wanted a one-on-one talk with Camilla, away from the public eye and children's ears. The queen consort, unaware of the gravity of the episode, reportedly sought to laugh it off, calling the exchange children being children. She then added, in what many felt was a dismissive tone, "We mustn't be so sensitive about playground squabbles, dear." Those words sparked the match. Kate, according to two staff members close, reacted with frigid wrath. She made it plain that this was not the first time one of Camilla's grandchildren had been passive-aggressive towards her, and that the most recent humiliation was unacceptable. She cautioned Camilla that there would be consequences if the problem was not resolved properly, stating, "This is not only about Charlotte, this is about respect, and your family clearly does not grasp what it means." And this time, Kate was not alone. Princess Anne, who had quietly disapproved of the scenario, is alleged to have privately sided with Kate. Anne allegedly instructed aides, "You protect your children, no matter what titles they hold. No child deserves that treatment." It was a subtle but harsh reprimand directed at Camilla's failure to accept responsibility. Kate's rage was not loud. Rather, it was calculated, as is all of her behavior. She did not rush to the press or throw a fuss. Instead, she made her views known to those who mattered most: William, the senior household staff, and the monarch himself. And her message was very clear. "If you don't defend my daughter, I will, and I shall never forget those who stood by and did nothing." It wasn't simply a reaction, it was a warning. Behind the palace walls, Kate has always been revered for her calm resolve. But that day, the team noticed something else: a mother lioness standing up in defense of her young. And in that moment, any last hope that Camilla's family could share royal status with the future queen's children vanished. The gloves had come off. Kate wasn't simply safeguarding Charlotte's feelings. She was preserving her position in history. Prince William has always played the long game, being diplomatic when appropriate, restrained when pressed, and unwaveringly focused on the crown's destiny. However, when it came to his children, particularly Princess Charlotte, diplomacy took a back seat. Following the Windsor Garden incident, he acted decisively. The next morning, while the palace was still buzzing with tales of Charlotte's tears and Kate's silent fury, William convened a private meeting with his most senior staff. No cameras, no royal fanfare, just a closed-door meeting in Kensington Palace that would cause a seismic shift in the royal order. Insiders believe William was quiet, but extremely serious. The kind of tone that made no space for compromise. He brought out the details of the occurrence in meticulous detail, sparing no one. His displeasure was not only with Charlotte's mistreatment, but also with Camilla's family's ongoing overreach, which had benefited from royal closeness without royal responsibility. Then came the shocker. William issued a direct order. Camilla's grandchild, thought to be Eliza Lopez, would no longer be granted honorary royal privileges. She was to be removed from ceremonial guest lists, have her palace privileges canceled, and barred from attending future royal events involving the children. Furthermore, all informal allusions to her as a junior royal in royal documents or staff protocols were to be removed immediately. The room went silent. It wasn't simply daring, it was unparalleled. William made it clear that this was not a personal attack on a youngster, but rather a necessary defense of the royal standard. "Being close to the throne doesn't mean you're a part of it," he allegedly stated. "Royalty is earned through service and duty, not through marriage, and certainly not through entitlement." He ended with a statement that has since echoed throughout the royal halls. "No one, no matter whose granddaughter they are, gets to mistreat my daughter and remain part of this institution." The palace first attempted to keep the choice a secret, but royal reporters are trained to smell blood, and the tale leaked within 48 hours. Headlines blasted over tabloids. After the Charlotte incident, William stripped Camilla's granddaughter of her royal role. Future king draws line in the sand. Queen Camilla's family cut off. Backlash behind palace gates. The public reaction was quick and extremely positive. Social media erupted with praise. "Good on William for standing up for Charlotte. That girl isn't a queen. Why was she treated like one?" Kate has raised a queen. William protected one. Even traditionalists who normally avoid internal royal drama acknowledged that William's decision was necessary and gutsy. He had reminded the public and the palace that the monarchy is not a free-for-all, and titles are not gifts given away at garden parties. Camilla, meantime, was enraged, but she couldn't fight the tide of public support. And Charles, he kept silent once more, unwilling to criticize the boy who would soon take his throne and possibly his relevance. William had not merely reacted to a family slight, he had rewritten the boundaries of the contemporary monarchy, emphasizing that authority must be earned, not inherited by association. And by doing so, he reminded the world, the House of Windsor belongs in the future, and he wants to make sure it's worthy of his daughter. While the public supported Prince William's resolute action, Queen Camilla was unraveling behind palace gates. In her perspective, this was not a protective gesture of parenting. It was a disgrace, a premeditated and calculated attack on her bloodline. Camilla felt completely powerless for the first time since her disputed promotion to Queen Consort. According to insiders, the Queen burst in wrath when she learnt of William's order to strip her granddaughter of her royal powers. Clarence House staff characterized the mood as tense and explosive. One assistant even compared it to watching someone realize their entire influence had just been revoked in real time. Camilla apparently raced through the house demanding answers and accusing everyone, including royal aides and Charles himself, of betraying her. She believed her family had been gently and persistently brought into the royal fold, invited to events, granted photo opportunities, and extended the silent courtesies afforded to those close enough to royalty. And suddenly, with one stroke of William's pen, everything had vanished. She reportedly confronted Charles immediately, insisting that he publish a statement retracting his decision. But the king, ever pragmatic, declined. "It's been done," he allegedly told her. "It is currently receiving far too much attention. Interfering would only make things worse." According to one courtier, Camilla broke down after that response. She felt betrayed not only by William, but also by the man she had spent decades with, the guy who once defied a whole nation to love her. To Charles, being silent in the face of what she saw as an attack on her family represented the ultimate abandonment. Camilla's fury, however, was not directed just at Charles. She supposedly blamed Kate most of all, believing that the Princess of Wales had orchestrated the entire scenario behind the scenes. "She's playing you all," Camilla was overheard telling a close friend. "Smiles in public, knives in private. That girl will take down anyone who threatens her place." And there it was, the old antagonism rekindled. Camilla had long attempted to provide a public image of harmony between herself and Kate, but others inside the palace knew differently. There had always been a frosty undercurrent between the two women. Camilla, the scandal survivor clawing her way to the throne, and Kate, the dignified future queen, adored by the public and untouchable by reputation. Camilla was now isolated, with her granddaughter expelled from the royal inner circle and her influence decreasing by the hour. Her press allies, who had previously advocated for her rehabilitation, remained mute. Even the staff began to withdraw themselves, realizing that the Queen Consort's reign had reached its limit. Rumors circulated that Camilla was considering retiring from public appearances, claiming health and stress, but sources believed this was an attempt to garner sympathy. However, the people did not buy it. Most people saw through the tale. The court of public opinion had made its decision. This was not an error, it was justice. And what about William? He did not flinch. He did not apologize. He kept on with his royal duties, unaffected. Because for him, this was not about Camilla. It was not even about Eliza. It was about Charlotte. And in defending his daughter, he disclosed Camilla's greatest flaw, the assumption that her family could ever sit at the royal table without genuinely belonging. For the first time in her royal existence, Camilla wasn't tugging strings. She was the one being cut loose. As whispers of the garden scandal became national headlines, the British public, which is notoriously fickle when it comes to royal affairs, reacted with unusual clarity. They strongly supported Princess Charlotte in playgrounds and pubs, on radio shows, and across social media platforms. A story evolved that no spin doctor or royal advisor could change. The tiny child with Diana's eyes had become a symbol of betrayed innocence, and the nation would not tolerate it. Almost suddenly, hashtags like #ProtectCharlotte, #TeamCharlotte, and #ShanPrivilege started trending on X, TikTok, and Instagram. Viral videos likened Charlotte's smooth public appearances to Camilla's granddaughter's transient displays of entitlement. Royal admirers compared footage of William and Kate's children to Camilla's extended family, comparing their grace and discipline with the alleged arrogance. Charlotte is the daughter of the future queen. She carries Diana's legacy. one popular tweet said. "Who does Camilla's grandchild believe she is?" The outcry was quick and nasty. Comment sections on royal posts became battlegrounds. Even longtime royalists, who had previously tentatively backed Camilla's entry into the monarchy, began to question the wisdom of elevating her family. Questions that had been hushed for years were suddenly being shouted. Why did the Shand family attend state events? Why did non-royals have access to palace resources? The most damning of all, why has the palace protected them until now? Public opinion polls reflected the mood shift. A Snap survey taken just days after the incident broke out found that 83% of respondents supported Prince William's decision to revoke Camilla's granddaughter's honorary privileges. Even more telling, nearly 70% believed that the monarchy should restrict royal access to people with direct bloodlines. For the Shands, it was a public relations disaster. Camilla's status and Charles's passion had once protected them, but now they were the subject of public scrutiny, and their social standing had been damaged. Eliza, long regarded as the future face of the modern blended royal family, had come to represent all the people disliked about supposed royal nepotism. Meanwhile, Kate's quiet became a potent weapon. She said nothing, gave no interviews, and made no veiled comments. Instead, she just resumed her engagements, visiting a children's hospice, chatting with young moms, and launching a mental health campaign. In each public appearance, cameras captured her calm demeanor, her soothing touch on Charlotte's shoulder, and her radiant but reserved grin. Kate had no need to say anything in public. She'd already won. Even renowned personalities began to weigh in. Television hosts, radio presenters, and parenting specialists all championed Charlotte's right to be protected. On one primetime panel, a commentator stated, "If your child is bullied, you intervene." William behaved as any father would. The difference is that he did it in front of a national audience, and for that, we appreciate him more. Behind the scenes, aides observed a subtle but significant difference. Staff who were formerly loyal to Camilla's household reportedly began to want redeployment to Kensington Palace. Journalists who had previously been sympathetic to the Queen Consort shifted their focus to tales about Kate's restraint and William's leadership. It was no longer merely a family issue. It was a reckoning. The message was clear. Royalty cannot be acquired by association, and entitlement has no place in the monarchy's destiny. And after the dust settled, one reality was undeniable. Princess Charlotte may have been moved to tears, but the nation rallied in her defense. In doing so, it revealed the flimsy, collapsing basis beneath Camilla's carefully crafted legacy. Few moments in the big theater of the British monarchy have felt more raw, personal, and revealing than this. A young girl was harmed during a family reunion, sparking not only sympathy, but also a national reckoning. And now, as the royal dust settles, Princess Charlotte stands as a silent winner in a struggle she never asked for, but will never forget. This was not about titles or access. It was about respect, protection, and the future of the crown. Prince William's bold, unabashed position demonstrated that the days of silent suffering and backroom favoritism were past. Kate, calm, collected, and unwavering, reminded millions of people that she is more than just the Princess of Wales. She is the heart of the monarchy's regeneration. Meanwhile, Camilla's meticulously planned legacy has begun to disintegrate. Her long journey from notorious mistress to queen consort had always relied on the public's tolerance and the silent belief that her family would be seamlessly integrated into royal affairs. That illusion is now shattered. Her granddaughter's exile from royal spaces is more than just a punishment. It's a signal. A distinction has been made between those who serve the crown with honor and those who ride its coattails. For once, the royal family did not look the other way. It behaved with clarity and consequences. King Charles remains ostensibly neutral, yet his silence is itself an admission. Although the throne is currently his, the kingdom's devotion is already slipping. With each scandal that William and Kate emerge from, their hold on the public imagination grows stronger. As a result, the lesson resonates in both palace corridors and public discourse. In this new era, Lineage is insufficient. Loyalty, character, and public trust are more important than ever. Princess Charlotte, with her calm power and composure beyond her years, has unintentionally become the face of the future. And Camilla, once so secure of her family's place in the crown, now watches as it cracks under the weight of consequence. The monarchy is evolving, and the next generation made it clear there will be no more second chances at privilege without principle.